Day and night and day, the living creatures give their praise. To him who lives eternally, they never cease from saying, Holy, holy is Yahweh Almighty, worthy, worthy to receive all glory.
Shalom, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are Between the River and the Ravens. I'm James.
And I'm Leigh.
We're so thankful once again to be able to read these words. The Torah portion this week is Mishpatiym, and we are on week 18, moving right along. It's been such a journey, such a blessing to go back in time and to really put yourself in the position of the Israelites as they're wandering through the wilderness. And it's just such a blessing, and we're just so thankful to be able to read these words to you. So we do hope that you enjoy this. Be sure to tune in this evening. We've got a new show starting up, and it's going to be airing live at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it is our new Torah testimony, where we're going to have people that are willing to share their story, how they came to Torah, how the scales were removed from their eyes. And we know it's going to be an encouragement and a blessing to all those that are watching and participating. So we encourage you, if you are willing and wanting to share your story with the remnant, please reach out to us and we can set that up for you. That's going to be airing again tonight at 7 p.m., hopefully every Tuesday. So we're looking forward to that as well. Shalom, Judy. Thank you for being here. And anyone else watching this now or later on, let these words bless your week. And we are going to be reading today Exodus 21 all the way through chapter 24. And we are reading out of the Scripture Translation 2009. All right, here we go. Chapter 21. These are the right rulings which you are to set before them. When you buy a Hebrew servant, he serves 6 years, and in the 7th he goes out free, for naught. If he comes in by himself, he goes out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master has given him a wife, and she has borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children are her master's, and he goes out by himself. And if the servant truly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, let me not go out free, then his master shall bring him before Elohim, and bring him to the door, or to the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And when a man sells his daughter to be a female servant, she does not go out as the male servants do. If she is displeasing in the eyes of her master, who has engaged her to himself, then he shall let her be ransomed. He shall have no authority to sell her to a foreign people, because of him deceiving her. And if he has engaged her to his son, he is to do to her as is the right of daughters. If he takes another wife, her food, her covering, and her marriage rights are right to be diminished. And if he does not do these 3 for her, then she shall go out for naught, without silver. He who strikes a man so that he dies shall certainly be put to death. But if he did not lie in wait, but Elohim delivered him into his hand, then I shall appoint for you a place where he is to flee. But when a man acts presumptuously against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, you are to take him even from my slaughter place to die. And he who strikes his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And he who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death. And he who curses his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And when men strive together, and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die, but is confined to his bed, if he rises again and walks about outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be innocent. He only pays for lost time and sees to it that he is completely healed. And when a man strikes his male or female servant with a rod, so that he dies under his hand, he shall certainly be punished. But if he remains alive a day or two, he is not punished, for he is his property. And when men strive, and they shall smite a pregnant woman, and her children come out, yet there is no injury, he shall certainly be punished according as the woman's husband lays upon him, and he shall give through the judges. But if there is injury, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, lash for lash. And when a man strikes the eye of his male or female servant and destroys it, he is to let him go free for the sake of his eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of a male or female servant, he is to let him go free for the sake of his tooth. And when an ox gores a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall certainly be stoned, and its flesh is not eaten, and the owner of the ox is innocent. However, if the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has been warned and has not kept it confined, so that it has killed a man or a woman, the ox is stoned, and its owner also is put to death. If a sin covering is laid upon him, then he shall give the ransom of his life, whatever is laid on him, whether it has gored a son or gored a daughter, according to this right ruling, it is done to him. If the ox gores a male or female servant, he is to give to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox is stoned. And when a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls in it, the owner of the pit is to repay. He is to give silver to their owner, and the dead beast is his. And when the ox of a man smites the ox of his neighbor, and it dies, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the silver from it, and also divide the dead ox. Or if it was known that the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has not kept it confined, he shall certainly repay ox for ox, while the dead beast is his.
Chapter 22. When a man steals an ox or a sheep and shall slaughter it or sell it, he repays 5 cattle for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. If the thief is found breaking in, and he is struck so that he dies, there is no guilt for his bloodshed. If the sun has risen on him, there is guilt for his bloodshed. He shall certainly repay. If he has not the means, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the theft is indeed found alive in his hand, whether it is an ox or donkey or sheep, he repays double. When a man lets a field or vineyard be grazed bare and lets loose his livestock, and it feeds in another man's field, he repays from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. When fire breaks out and spreads to thorn bushes, so that stacked grain or standing grain or the field is consumed, he who kindled the fire shall certainly repay. When a man gives silver or goods to his neighbor to guard, and it is stolen out of the man's house, if the thief is found, he repays double. If the thief is not found, then the master of the house shall be brought before Elohim to see whether he has put his hand into his neighbor's goods. For every matter of transgression, for ox, for donkey, for sheep, for garment, or for whatever is lost, which another claims to be his, let the matter of them both come before Elohim. And whomever Elohim declares wrong repays double to his neighbor. When a man gives to his neighbor a donkey or ox or sheep or any beast to watch over, and it dies or is injured or is driven away while no one is looking, let the oath of yahuah be between them both, that he has not put his hand into his neighbor's goods. And the owner of it shall accept that, and he does not repay. But if it is indeed stolen from him, he repays to its owner. If it is torn to pieces, then let him bring it for evidence. He does not repay what was torn. And when a man borrows from his neighbor and it is injured or dies while the owner of it is not present, he shall certainly repay. But if its owner was with it, he does not repay. If it was hired, he is entitled to the hire. And when a man entices a maiden who is not engaged and lies with her, he shall certainly pay the bride price for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he pays according to the bride price of maidens. Do not allow a practicer of witchcraft to live. Anyone lying with a beast shall certainly be put to death. He who slaughters to an Elohim except to yahuah only is put under the ban. Do not tread down a sojourner or oppress him, for you were sojourners in the land of Mishpatiym. Do not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you do afflict them at all, if they cry out to me at all, I shall certainly hear their cry, and my wrath shall burn, and I shall kill you with the sword. Your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If you do lend silver to any of my people, the poor among you, you are not to be like one that lends on interest to him. Do not lay interest on him. If you take your neighbor's garment as a pledge at all, you are to return it to him before the sun goes down. For that is his only covering. It is his garment for his skin. What does he sleep in? And it shall be that when he cries to me, I shall hear, for I show favor. Do not revile an Elohim, nor curse a ruler of your people. Do not delay giving your harvest and your vintage. Give me the firstborn of your sons. Likewise, you are to do with your oxen, with your sheep. It is to be with its mother 7 days. On the 8th day, you give it to me, and you are set apart men to me. And you do not eat any meat which is torn to pieces in the field. You throw it to the dogs.
Chapter 23. Do not bring a false report. Do not put your hand with the wrong to be a malice witness. Do not follow a crowd to do evil, nor bear witness in a strife, so as to turn aside after many, to turn aside what is right. And do not favor a poor man in his strife. When you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall certainly return it to him. When you see the donkey of him who hates you lying under its burden, you shall refrain from leaving it to him. You certainly shall help him. Do not turn aside the right ruling of your poor in his strife. Keep yourself far from a false matter, and do not kill the innocent and the righteous, for I do not declare the wrong right. And do not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the seen one and twists the words of the righteous. And do not oppress a sojourner, as you yourselves know the heart of a sojourner, because you were sojourners in the land of Mizraim. And for 6 years you are to sow your land and shall gather its increase. But the 7th year you are to let it rest, and shall leave it, and the poor of your people shall eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field eat. Do the same with your vineyard and your olive yard. 6 days you are to do your work, and on the 7th day you rest, in order that your ox and your donkey might rest, and the son of your female servant and the sojourner be refreshed. And in all that I have said to you, take heed, and make no mention of the name of other mighty ones. Let it not be heard from your mouth. 3 times in the year you are to celebrate a festival to me. Guard the festival of Matzah. 7 days you eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you at the time appointed in the new moon of Abib. For in it you came out of Mitzrayim, and do not appear before me empty-handed. And the festival of the harvest, Shavuot, the first fruits of your labors which you have sown in the field, and the festival of the ingathering, Sukkot, at the outgoing of the year, when you have gathered in the fruit of your labors from the field. 3 times in the year all your males are to appear before the master yahuah. Do not slaughter the blood of my slaughtering with unleavened bread, and the fat of my festival shall not remain until morning. Bring the first of the first fruits of your land into the house of yahuah your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. See, I am sending a messenger before you to guard you in the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Be on guard before him and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he is not going to pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. But if you diligently obey his voice and shall do all that I speak, then I shall be an enemy to your enemies and a distresser to those who distress you. For my messenger shall go before you and shall bring you in to the Amorites and the Hittites and of the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Jebusites, and I shall cut them off. Do not bow down for their mighty ones, nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but without fail overthrow them, and without fail break down their pillars. And you shall serve yahuah your Elohim, and he shall bless your bread and your water, and I shall remove sickness from your midst. None shall miscarry or be barren in your land. I shall fill the number of your days. I shall send my fear before you and cause confusion among all the people to whom you come, and make all your enemies turn their backs to you. And I shall send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Hivites, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before you. I shall not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become a waste and the beasts of the field become too numerous for you. Little by little I shall drive them out before you until you have increased and you inherit the land. And I shall set your border from the sea of reeds to the sea of the Philistines, and from the wilderness to the river. For I shall give the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. Do not make a covenant with them, nor with their mighty ones. Let them not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me when you serve their mighty ones, when it becomes a snare to you.
Chapter 24. And to Moshe he said, Come up to Yahweh, you and Aharon, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and you shall bow yourselves from a distance. But Moshe shall draw near to Yahweh by himself, and let them not draw near, nor let the people go up with him. And Moshe came and related to the people all the words of Yahweh and all the right rulings. And the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which Yahweh has spoken we shall do. And Moshe wrote down all the words of Yahweh. And he rose up early in the morning and built a slaughter place at the foot of the mountain, and 12 standing columns for the 12 tribes of Yisrael. And he sent young men of the children of Yisrael, and they offered ascending offerings and slaughterings of peace offerings to Yahuwah of bulls. And Moshe took half the blood and put it in basins, and half the blood he sprinkled on the slaughter place. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the hearing of the people. And they said, all that Yahweh has spoken, we shall do and obey. And Moshe took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, see the blood of the covenant which Yahweh has made with you concerning all these words. And Moshe went up, also Aharon, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Yisrael. And they saw the Elohim of Yisrael, and under his feet, like a paved work of sapphire stone, and like the heavens for brightness. Yet he did not stretch out his hand against the chiefs of the children of Yisrael. And they saw Elohim, and they ate and drank. And Yahweh said to Moshe, come up to me on the mountain and be there while I give you tablets of stone in the Torah and the command which I have written to teach them. And Moshe arose with his assistant Yahusha, and Moshe went up to the mountain of Elohim. And he said to the elders, wait here for us until we come back to you. And see, Aharon and Hur are with you. Whoever has matters, let him go to them. And Moshe went up into the mountain, and a cloud covered the mountain. And the esteem of Yahweh dwelt on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. And on the 7th day he called to Moshe out of the midst of the cloud, and the appearance of the esteem of Yahweh was like a consuming fire on the top of the mountain before the eyes of the children of Yisrael. And Moshe went into the midst of the cloud and went up into the mountain. And it came to be that Moshe was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights.
All right, that concludes our week 18 reading of Mishpatiym. That's exciting. I'm already looking forward to Friday. There's going to be a lot to discuss, a lot of laws we went over. Do we still uphold those and obey them? That's going to be an interesting discussion. And then I'm already seeing some connections on that last chapter you read. So really excited. Tune in for that on Friday evening. Join us for our fellowship, and be sure to tune in to the remainder of our shows this week if you can. We hope that this content blesses you. Share it out with those that are wanting to seek him, wanting to learn, that we can all join together and strengthen each other. So May this word be a blessing for your week. And until next time, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Day and night and day, the living creatures give their praise to him who lives eternally. They never cease from saying, holy, holy is Yahweh.